guys, welcome back. So in this video, I would be starting with chapter 2. So in my previous video, I have covered in detail the chapter 1, which is basics like why the GST was introduced. So we have understood why or what is the importance of GST. And from now, whatever we'll be understanding is what is GST, what are provisions are covered under GST, guys. So whatever the initial chapters we would be covering is like chapter 2, 3, 4 and all, you would have learned this in even in your executive level. But still here also same topics are covered, same provisions are covered, but here we need to learn in detail. Clear? Why? Because see, at professional level, the paper is descriptive type, whereas at executive level, it was multiple choice questions, guys. Clear? So here you are supposed to explain whatever questions are asked in your answers. Agree? So here in detail we have to learn, and also as and when I explain the provisions, some illustrations I have given to make you understand what exactly or how exactly this provision will work. And also at the end of the chapter, I have given the problems. We will be solving the problems as and when we cover the provisions, particular provisions, guys. Clear? And this chapter 2, as per ICSI syllabus, is very huge. Means it is big chapters. So what I have done is, I have divided in institute study material also, there are part B, part C. They are totally made it as 3 parts. So even I have made it as 3 units, guys. That is chapter 2.1, chapter 2.2 and chapter 2.3. So in today we would be starting with chapter 2.1, which talks about supply under GST. So yesterday we learned GST, that is goods and service tax, is a tax on the supply of goods or services, except on the alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Okay. So GST is a tax on what? On the supply of goods or services. So it is very much required for us to understand 3 terms here. Which are those? Supply. What is supply? Under GST, the taxable event is supply, guys. That is, whenever there is a supply, the GST would be levied. So the person who do supply or who is doing the supply is called the supplier, and for whom the supply is made or who is receiving the supply is called recipient, guys. Clear? What is supply is covered in section 7 of CGST Act. Then coming to goods and or services. So goods and services is also defined under CGST Act. We will learn those definitions also. So that is what our today's agenda is. Understanding supply, goods and services, guys. Come on, let's get into the concepts. Supply under GST. The GST law lays down one comprehensive taxable event, only one taxable event, that is supply. Supply of goods or services or both. GST law, by levying tax on the supply of goods and or services, departs from historically understood concept of taxable event under the state VAT laws, excise laws and service tax laws, that is sale, manufacture and service respectively. That is, under the previous indirect tax regime, there were multiple taxable events like manufacture, sale of goods within the state, sale of goods outside the state, service and all. But under GST, only one taxable event. What is it? The supply. Supply is the taxable event under goods and service tax. Supply is an incidence for the levy of goods and service tax. Thus, for any transaction to be eligible to goods and service tax, it has to fall within the purview of definition of supply. Means only when there is a supply, GST would be levied. If there is no supply, no GST. So for us, it is very important to understand in the first step, what is supply? What is supply? The term supply is characterized by the following necessary traits. That is, the following are the characteristics of supply. Supply should be of goods or services. If by chance, if there is any 5 marks question or 4 marks question, guys, what are the characteristics of or what are the features of supply? You should note the following points. Anything which is not goods or services like money, securities, etc. is not a supply. So supply should be of what? Only goods or services or both. If something which is not goods, If something which is not goods as well as services, then there is no question of GST on it. Clear? Yes, sir. What are those? Like money and securities are there. Na? They are not both goods. They are neither goods nor services. So in that case, there is no GST levied on the transaction carried out in money or securities. Is not supply. Supply should be made for a consideration. That means there should be a consideration which could be in the form of money or otherwise, unless the transaction is covered by Schedule 1 to CGST Act. Actually, Schedule 1 is there, which has to be read along with Section 7. Schedule 1 covers 4 cases, guys. This 4 cases, even without consideration, is still a supply. We call it as deemed supply. Except these 4 cases, all other scenarios, there should be a consideration. There should be a consideration. If there is no consideration, there is no supply. Whereas in case of Schedule 1, as I told you, there are 4 cases where even without consideration, there is still a supply. There is still a supply. So in this chapter, we will also be learning 3 schedules, guys. Schedule 1, 2 and 3. Next, deposit is not a consideration unless specifically applied to by the supplier. Now, consideration, I told you there should be a consideration except in 4 cases. Now, consideration can be in money or in kind, or it can be in monetary terms or non-monetary terms. It can be in cash or in kind. Consideration can be in any way. Okay. Now, sir, I have made a deposit. I have made a deposit, or I have given a advance for the supply which will take place in future. Is it considered as consideration? No. When advance is given or when deposit is given, it is not a consideration. But if it is used in the future against the supplies made to me, then it will be treated as supply. For example, let me give an example. Assume I have given 1 lakh advance for you. Why? That because you will supply the goods for me in the next month. Okay. Today I have given 1 lakh for you. Is it a consideration? No, sir. Assume in the next month you supply goods to me. Against that, you are adjusting whatever 1 lakh advance I had given. Again, I need not give you the money because I had already given the advance. So when you supply the goods next month, you are adjusting whatever advance I gave against that supply. At that time, it will be a consideration. That is, when you are adjusting for the supply you have made to me, whatever advance I gave, at that time it will be a consideration, guys. Clear? Okay. Next, supply should be made in the course or in the furtherance of business. Supply should be made in the course or furtherance of business means only when the supply is made in the course or furtherance of business, it will be covered here. For example, assume I am supplying this pen to you. Am I a registered person? No. Are you a registered person? No, because this is not in the course of business. I had purchased a pen. Now I am not using it. So I sold it to you. I am not doing any business in the pens. I am not having any stationery business. In that case, is it in the course or furtherance of business? No. In that case, is it a supply as per section 7? No. Clear? Okay, sir. Now assume I am running a stationery business. I have a shop. There you came and purchased a pen from me. Is it a supply? Yes. Why? Because selling a pen, if I am having a stationery business, it is in the course or furtherance of business, guys. It is in the course or furtherance of business. Clear? So especially for the supplier, whatever is supplying, whether goods or services, it should be in the course or furtherance of business. Clear? For the supplier. Okay. Next. Supply should be made by a taxable person. Supply should be made by a taxable person means the supplier. They're talking about the supplier, guys. So here they're talking about the supplier. So supply should be made by a taxable person means the person who is registered under GST. Now I am supplying something to you. I am not registered under GST. So should I pay tax to the government? No. Is it a supply? No. Why? Because I am a non-taxable person. So in the last point I have also mentioned, you can see who is taxable person. A taxable person is one who is registered or is liable to be registered under the Act. Under the Act means CGST Act or GST Act. Clear? So a person who is registered or who is liable to get registered is called taxable person. For example, sir, I am registered under GST. Now I am supplying anything. So is it a supply by a taxable person? Yes. Fine. Now, sir, I was supposed to get registered under GST. Who should get registered under GST and all? We will understand in registration chapter. Now, I was liable to get registered, but I have not applied for registration. I have not got my registration. Am I still called a taxable person? Yes, I am still called a taxable person. Even if I am liable for registration but not obtained the registration, still I will be called registered person. Sorry, taxable person, guys. Clear? Okay. Supply between both non-taxable parties is not leviable to GST. So supply between both non-taxable parties is not leviable to GST means I am not a taxable person. I am not registered under GST. You are also not registered under GST. We both are non-taxable person. I am supplying goods to you. Is it a supply? No. I am supplying services to you. Is it a supply? No. So if there is any transaction between two non-taxable person, then it is not a supply. It is not a supply at all. Clear? So this is some characteristics or main features, guys, which I have given here. But what is given in section 7, now we will be learning in detail. In detail. Goods and services definition, I will cover it later after this. So now we are getting into section 7 of CGST Act. So what is given in section 7 is very, very important, guys. So please be very attentive. As I told you, our starting point for GST itself is section 7. Clear? If I don't know what is supply, then I will not be able to tell whether GST can be levied on this transaction or not. So whether a transaction or activity, is it a supply? First we need to understand. Then we will understand later whether it is taxable, whether it is exempt, or whether it is covered in negative list, whether it is a supply of goods, whether it is a supply of services. Everything we will understand in the later part. Clear? So now what are we trying to understand is whether a transaction, there is an activity, whether is it a supply as per section 7. Should we understand? We should understand that first. Okay. See, guys, first let me just give a brief about it. Section 7, subsection 1. There are clauses here. 7.1a, 7.1aa, 7.1b and 7.1c. All these sections put together, they will tell whether an activity or transaction, is it a supply anta. Is it a supply? It will tell whether it is a supply or not. Whether a transaction or activity, is it a supply or not anta. Fine. After that, once we decided, okay, transaction is a supply, we need to identify whether it is a supply of goods or whether it is a supply of services. So where should we go for it? Subsection 1a, capital A, 7.1 capital A. So supply of goods or supply of services. So once I decided a transaction as supply, next I need to decide whether it is a supply of goods or supply of services. Then come into 7 subsection 2. 7 subsection 2 tells this following items are covered in negative list. That means they are neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. That means GST is not applicable on the following items. Clear? So as per section 7.1, it might be a supply. But still, if that supply is covered under section 7.2, it is called as negative list. It is neither supply of goods nor supply of services. That means GST is not applicable on them. Clear? Yes, sir. Next, coming to 7.3, government has the power to make a notification telling the following transaction is a supply of goods and not supply of services. Or they can also make a clarification telling the following transaction is a supply of services but not supply of goods. That clarification can be given by the government. They have that power as per subsection 3. So each and everything we have to learn in detail, guys. Fine? Chalo. We'll start with. Pay attention. Supply includes subsection 1. 7 subsection 1 A. We are going to A now. All forms of supply of goods or services both, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease, or disposal made or agreed to be made for a consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. So here 7.1a is telling all forms of supply. Supply includes what? All forms of supply of what? Goods or services. Of what? Goods or services. Okay. Such as some illustration has been given. Which are those? Sale. What is sale? I have sold something to you for a consideration. Yes, it is called a sale. Next, transfer. I have just transferred something to you. It is not a sale. I have just transferred something to you. Is it considered as a supply? Yes, sir. Even that is considered as supply here under GST. Next, barter. What is barter? I gave something to you, you gave something to me back. Money is not involved. There is no cash involved. So there is some barter things. Means I gave, assume a laptop for you and you gave a tab for me. Or I gave a one pen to you, you gave me other pen. So there is no money involved here. What do we call it as? Barter. Then, and in case of barter, transfer and all, how to determine the value of supply, on what amount the GST would be levied, all those things we would be learning later. We don't worry about value now. We will just worry about whether a transaction, is it a supply or not. So if it is a supply, for example, barter and all, there is no money involved, there is no cash involved. On what amount should we pay tax? All those things are covered in, there is a separate chapter, that is 2.3, value of supply. Okay, I would be covering it there. On what value GST would be levied means it is called value of supply. How to determine that? We would be covering it in chapter 2.3, guys. Yeah. Okay, sir. Next, exchange. Barter is different. Exchange is different, guys. Exchange means, for example, I exchanged my old mobile phone with a new phone by paying additionally 20,000. Clear? I exchanged my old phone for a new phone. In addition to my old phone, I paid 20,000. What do we call it as? Exchange. Clear? Similarly, sir, I exchanged my old car for a new car by paying additional 5 lakh. So what do we call this as? Exchange. Clear? Barter is different, exchange is different. In exchange, there is a money element involved, whereas in barter, there is no money at all. One thing has been exchanged for another thing. Okay, sir. Next. So for example, I gave professional services for you. You gave me, assume you are a practicing lawyer, you gave me legal services for me. There is no money involved. So in that case, it is a barter. Next, coming to license. So if I have given any license for you, or rental, the renting of any properties, or leasing of any properties, or disposal. Even if I have disposed my business assets, or I have just put it for a scrap, still it is considered as supply. All these are special features under GST, guys. Clear? Yes, sir. So all these transactions are considered as supply, provided they are made or agreed to be made for what? For a consideration. That means there should be a consideration flowing from one party to other party by a person in the course or furtherance of business. All these conditions are very, very important. There should be a supply of goods or services for a consideration in the course or furtherance of business, guys. Clear? So what is important for us to understand now is what is goods, what is services, guys. I have given the definition as given in the CGST Act here. You can come back. What is goods is been defined under section 252. Very important, guys. Two important definitions. So please, you need to remember this. And it is asked in the exam for 5 marks. One of the exam. Explain the definition of goods and services. So you need to define as it is. You need to write as it is. So you should be knowing it. What is it? We'll see. As per section 252 of Central Goods and Service Tax Act 2017, goods means every kind of movable property. Okay. So if something is immovable, is it a goods? No, sir. What is immovable? Land. Land is always immovable, or anything which is attached to the land. Anything which is attached to the land, like building, telecommunication towers, like that. Clear? Okay. So fine. So goods means every kind of movable property other than money and securities. That means money and securities are not at all goods. Fine, sir. But includes. But includes means the following are the goods. Actionable claim. What is actionable claim? Actionable claim means you need to take an action to claim that. Okay, it is a claim towards unsecured debt, guys. You have a document. If you present it, you will be getting the money, something like that. So what is actionable claim? It is a claim towards unsecured debt, guys. For example, lottery, betting, gambling, all this are actionable claim. That is, sir, assume you have done a betting. Yeah, you have done a betting, or else you have purchased a lottery. So you will be having a lottery ticket. If you have won the money, assume you have won 10 lakh rupees from your lottery ticket. If you go and present that ticket, you will be getting the money. Agree? So it is a claim towards unsecured debt. Same way, sir, assume I have bet on a horse, in a horse race. I have bet around 1,000 rupees. So they would have given some chit for you. Agree? Or some slip for you as a proof that how much you have put, on which horse you have put. So assume that horse on which you have put a bet as won. So how can you claim the money? You will go present that slip that, sir, I had invested 1,000 rupees on this so and so horse which has won. You will submit it and get the prize money. Yeah, that is what. Fine. Next, growing crops. So growing crops means it will not be immovable, because one or the other day we will sever it, we will remove it from the land and sell it. Then grass and things attached to or forming part of the land which are agreed to be severed from, before supply under a contract of supply. So things which is attached to the land, the best example is trees. I have agreed that I will cut this tree and supply it to you. Okay, assume you are a furniture dealer, so you have asked me to supply woods for you or trees for you. So what I have done is, I am growing a tree in my land. So I have told that I will cut these trees and supply it to you in the next month or in the next year. So is it a good? Yes. If something is attached to the land which I have agreed to sever or cut and supply it to you, even that will become goods. Clear, guys? Hope it is clear for you. Try to remember this as it is, because if they have asked you to explain any definition, or if they have asked you define goods and services, you need to write as it is, guys. You cannot write it in your own words. Please be very careful with it. Next, coming to services. So please be very careful. Money and securities is not a goods. Fine. Next, services definition is given in section 2 clause 102. As per section 2 clause 102 of Central Goods and Service Tax Act 2017, services means anything other than goods. So goods is not a services. Money and securities. Okay. Anything other than goods, money and securities means money and securities are not goods also. They are not services also. Okay. So services, what is the simple meaning? Anything other than goods, money and securities. Goods definition we have understood. Anything other than goods, money and securities are not the goods also. They are not the services also. Clear? Money, we know what is money. So the legal tender, whether it is the Indian currency, foreign currency, DD, check, anything. Coming to securities, what is securities? Shares, debentures, bonds, all this fall under the securities definition, guys. Clear? Okay. But includes activities relating to. So please be careful. Services excludes three things. What are those? Goods, money and securities. Okay. But it includes the activities relating to use of money. So if you are using money to do any activity, that will be as services. Okay. Money is not a services, but if you are doing any activity using money, that might be as services. Okay. Or its conversion by cash or by any other mode from one form or currency or denomination to another form, currency or denomination, for which a separate consideration is charged. Let me give an example for this. Assume I want to convert my Indian rupees into US dollar. I went to an authorized dealer. I asked him, sir, convert my 1 lakh rupees into US dollar, for which he charged me 5,000 rupees. So 5,000 is what? The service charge for his service. So is it a supply? Yes. Conversion of one currency or from one form to another form is a service, because he is charging a separate consideration for it. So in that case, what is the value of supply? 5,000, not 1 lakh. Agree? 1 lakh is converting into US dollar. So for that, what is the amount he is charging? He is charging a separate consideration. Separate consideration. How much is he charging? 5,000. For what? For his service. What is his service? Conversion of Indian rupees into foreign currency. Clear? Yes. One more example. Now assume I wanted a DD, that is demand draft. I went to a bank and I asked to get a DD for 10,000. I submitted a cash of 10,000 and asked to convert it into a DD and give it to me. Okay. For which they charged me, assume 250 rupees. They charged me 250 rupees. In that case, so this 250 is what? They're charging it for their service. They're charging it for their service. Why? Because they're converting from one form to another form. That is from cash to DD, for which they're charging 250 for their service. So is it a supply of service? Yes. Only to the extent of 250, not 10,000. Clear? Yes. Hope the definition of goods and services is clear for you. So if something is not goods, if something is not services, then will GST be applied on it? No. Chalo. So now we read 7.1a here, guys. So in detail, I will be explaining it here in the next page. Come to that page. Modes of supply, forms of supply as per section 7.1a. Supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both. So we have understood what is goods, what is services. Next, supply of anything other than goods or services does not attract GST. For example, money, securities are not both goods as well as services. So will GST be levied on it? No, sir. Clear? But use of money, GST will be levied. See guys, securities also. When you buy and sell the shares, debentures or bonds, GST will not be levied. But assume you're buying the shares of Infosys through your Demat account. So Demat account is with Zerodha. Let us assume you have a Demat account with Zerodha. So Zerodha is charging you some service charges because you are using their platform to buy and sell the shares. So in that case, assume they are charging 15 rupees. 15 rupees for every buy and sell. So in that case, on that amount, GST is applicable. Clear? That is purely a service. But on buying and selling of securities, there is no GST involved. There is no GST applicable. There is something called as securities transaction tax, which will be levied, but there is no GST applicable on the securities. Clear? Yes, sir. So now, so here I have given a chart here. Supply of goods, which is means every kind of goods means what? Which we have just now learned. Means every kind of movable property excluding money and securities, but it includes what and all? Actionable claim, growing crops, grass and things attached to or forming part of the land which are agreed to be severed before the supply or under a contract of supply. This is the goods. Then coming to services, anything other than goods excluding money and securities. So services excludes three things totally, but it includes activities relating to use of money or conversion of money by cash by any other mode or from one form to or from one currency to another currency or another form, for which a separate consideration is charged. Yeah, so here this will be helpful for you to learn the definition of goods and services, because here I have taken it as part by part and given it here. Fine. So anything other than goods or services does not attract GST. 7.1a, is it simple for you? Yes, sir. At the end, I have given a one-liner here for 7.1a. Supply of goods or services or both, plus for a consideration, plus in the course or furtherance of business. That means when all these three conditions are satisfied only, it will be a supply as per 7.1a. Even if one thing is missing, it will not be a supply. For example, there is a supply of goods for free. Is it a supply as per 7.1a? No, because there is no consideration. Next, I am a non-taxable person. I supplied something to you. Is it a supply? No. Why? Because it is not in the course or furtherance of business. So please be very careful. When only all these three conditions are satisfied, an activity will be a supply. as per 7(1)(a), guys. Clear? Some illustrations. Mr. Akshay, a dealer, sells a washing machine. So he's a dealer in washing machine for 30,000 to earn a profit. Does it qualify as a supply? Let us learn one by one. Let us just cross check one by one. So Mr. Akshay is a dealer selling a washing machine. So is it in the course or furtherance of business? Yes, sir. Next, coming to washing machine. Is it a goods? Yes, sir. Next, is there a consideration? Yes, 30,000. So there is a goods and it is sold in the course or furtherance of business for a consideration. So that means all the three conditions are satisfied. So it is a supply as per 7(1)(a), guys. Solution. As it qualifies as supply because, yes, it qualifies as supply because as per section 7(1)(a) of CGST Act 2017, supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease, or disposal, made or agreed to be made for a consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. Hence, in the above case, it will be treated as supply and liable to GST. Is that clear? Fine. Guys, yesterday in my previous class, I told you in your notebook, leave first 2 pages. I will make you to write the sections on them. Come to that, come to that part, open your notebook. So first 2 sheets, I asked you to leave empty. Come there, I will make you to write the sections. So totally there are 2 pages. Agree? So hope you are maintaining ruled book. So it will be something like this. Your notebook will be something like this. This is the margin and this one. Clear? On the top of the first page. Okay. First page, I would be making you guys to write the section numbers of CGST. That is Central Goods and Service Tax. And whatever is covered in your syllabus, the maximum provision is CGST Act only, guys. Clear? Some sections of IGST also is covered, that is Integrated Goods and Service Tax, but only few sections. Clear? Maximum sections are CGST. So here you write section number. Section number and here content or description, anything. Content or description. Clear? On the top of the page. Clear? I repeat, yesterday I had asked you people to leave 2 pages at the beginning of your notebook. So there you write the section number. As and when I cover each and every section, I will make you to write here. And you at professional level, guys, you are supposed to remember the section numbers. So it is very important for you guys to know the provisions along with the section numbers. Clear? So please try to remember the sections along with the provisions from the day one only. Cultivate that habit. Try to recall the provisions along with the section number. You will definitely get it, guys. At the first instance or second instance, you may not get it. You will get it only by way of practicing, regular study. Do it every now and then. Keep on studying it. You will definitely get it. You will definitely be able to retain it in your mind. Fine. Chalo. So there. So content on the top. Okay. Above this also write CGST Act, guys. CGST Act 2017. So whatever section numbers I would be giving is CGST Act 2017. Yeah, you almost require 2 sides, guys. So one complete page you need for this CGST Act. That is 2 sides of the page. Fine, for CGST. So right, first section number 1. Section number 1. Short title. Short title, comma, extent and applicability. and applicability or commencement. You can also take it as commencement. I repeat, short title, extent, and take it as commencement. Commencement. Fine. So what is this? Come on. Short title. CGST means actually the full name is Central Goods and Service Tax Act. In short, what do we call it as? CGST Act. Okay, this is called short title. Then extent. For which area the CGST Act is applicable? Entire India, including Jammu and Kashmir. So we call it as taxable territory. So what is taxable territory for GST purpose means entire India, including Jammu Kashmir, guys. So that is what the extent is. Then coming to commencement, when the CGST Act was commenced from 1st July 2017. 1st July 2017. We have learned this in the previous chapter. Yes, sir. Then coming to section 2. Section 2. Definitions. Definitions. There are various definitions given under this act. Clear? That is CGST Act. So as of now, we have learned to do goods as well as services. Clear? So in the coming classes also, we'll be learning more definitions. And some definitions are really very important for the exams, guys. I would be telling it. So you should learn as it is and try to retain it in your mind. Clear? 2. And see, in any act, normally this section 1 and 2 will remain same, guys. In any act, not only CGST Act, in any act, section 1 under any act will be short title, extent, and commencement. Whereas section 2 will be a definition. There, see, in the act, they would have used different terms. So there is a requirement to give definitions of those terms, what exactly it means on that. So that is why they would have given definitions, and definitions normally will be in section 2 clause something, because those definitions will be independent of each other. So we call it as 2 clause 1, 2 clause 2, 2 clause 3 like that. And it will always, definitions will always go in an alphabetical order, guys. Like A, B, whatever terms are used in A first will be defined, then B, C like that. It will always go in an alphabetical order. Next, coming to 3 to 6. 3 to 6. Administrative aspects. Administrative aspects. We have not yet covered it. So it is not covered in the initial chapters. So 3 to 6 administrative aspects, guys. Clear? Okay. Then section 7. Meaning and scope of supply. Meaning and scope of supply. Yeah. So this is what the section we are covering now. Section 7, that is meaning and scope of supply. Fine, guys. Now come to the next page. So leave two sides. So you have started on one side, right? So leave full that side plus another side for CGST Act. Go to the next page. I had asked you to leave two pages. Now go to that second page. Go to that second page. There on the top, write IGST Act. Not many sections will be there here, only few sections. IGST Act 2017. So again, section number, content. See, in IGST Act, there are totally only 20 sections, because maximum provisions, whatever we will cover in CGST Act, as it is, mutatis mutandis we call it as, is applicable for IGST also. Clear? Each and everything is not covered in the IGST Act. Only with respect to interstate supply, if there is anything required, they have covered it in IGST Act, guys. So here also, same story, section 1 and 2, same story. Section 1, right? Short title, extent, and commencement. Short title, extent, and commencement. Okay, section 2, definitions. Some terms have been defined in IGST Act also. Next, 3 and 4. 3 and 4, administrative aspects. Administrative aspects. Clear? Fine. Chalo. And sir, section 7 you told here under CGST and meaning and scope of supply. It will remain same even for IGST, guys. Clear? So scope of supply, whether it is an intrastate supply, whether it is an interstate supply, will not change. It will remain same. Clear? Okay. Chalo. Get back. Now get back. So we are done with 7.1a, guys. We'll go to the next part now. So as and when we cover each section, we will just mark it. Next, 7.1aa. This is a new section which was added recently. What is it? We will see. 7.1aa. The activities or transaction by a person other than an individual to its members or constituents or vice versa for cash, deferred payment or other valuable consideration. So what are they trying to cover here is, if any association is there, if they are giving any services or if they are doing any activities to their members, is it a supply? Yes. If there is a consideration involved there, even that will be a supply. You can try to understand here. Analysis is given. The aforesaid provision has been inserted through Finance Act 2021 and has been given retrospective effect from when? 1st July 2017. The purpose of such insertion is to constitute activities or transaction between an association or a club or similar entities to its member. So who is giving the activity? Who is supplying the activities? Association, club or similar entities. To whom? To its members or constituents as supply. For the purpose of taxability, the members and entity shall be deemed to be two distinct persons. Now I am the member of a club. A club is giving some transaction to me, some activities to me. Is it a supply? Yes. Member and club is treated as two distinct persons, two separate persons. If club is supplying anything to me, then it is considered as supply as per section 7.1aa. Whether it is for cash, deferred payment. Deferred payment means the payment will be made in the future, in the installment or something like that, or other valuable consideration like club membership fee or anything like that. Yeah, means there is a consideration. Consideration can be in any form. Yeah, yes, sir. Nothing much about 7.1aa. Now coming to 7.1b. 7.1b. Import of services. Okay, import of service is there for a consideration whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. Very important. So what is the activity? Import of services. So should it be for a consideration? Yes, sir. It is for a consideration. Whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. Now, I am in India. I am taking some services from foreign. So, am I paying for it? Yes. Next, for what purpose I am taking service is not relevant here. Is it for my business? Is it for my personal purpose? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let me give an example. Now assume, guys, I am in India. I have taken some architect services or legal services from my friend who is in abroad. So I am paying 10,000 for him, $10,000 for him. Is it a supply as per 7.1b? Yes. For what purpose I have taken? For example, I have taken legal services for my personal reason. Is it a supply? Yes. Next, sir, I have taken legal services for my personal reasons. Or so let me take it for business purpose, for my business. So is it a supply? Yes. So the purpose doesn't matter here. Next, sir, I have taken some services, legal services or architect services from my friend from abroad, free of cost. He is my close friend, so he has given that service free of cost. Is it the supply as per 7.1b? No. Why? Because there is no consideration. One of the condition here is consideration. So only two conditions has to be satisfied here, guys. Which are those? There should be an import of service for a consideration. That's all. Only two conditions. Clear? Whether it is for business purpose, whether it is for personal purpose, doesn't matter. Clear? And whenever there is a import, normally the government will catch hold of the recipient. Recipient is liable to pay tax, guys. There is something called as reverse charge mechanism. See, there are two mechanisms under GST. Maximum scenarios will fall under the forward charge mechanism. That is, the supplier is liable to pay tax to the government. Clear? Whereas few scenarios, government has notified that the recipient is liable to pay tax. We call it as reverse charge mechanism. Under reverse charge mechanism, the recipient is the one who is liable to pay tax to the government. The liability is with whom? Recipient. Clear? Yes. More about this we will be learning in section 9 of the same chapter. In chapter 2.1 only, we would be covering section 9 also, but in the later part, after covering section 7 and 8. But 7 will take more time. So we are doing it now. Chalo. Hope it is clear for you. Chalo. Example. So even one of the example for reverse charge mechanism is import. Who is liable to pay tax in case of import? The recipient. Clear? Chalo. Have given an example here. Ramaya, a proprietor, has received a architect services for his house. For his house means personal reason. From an architect located in New York at an agreed consideration of 5,000. So let us check whether the conditions are satisfied. Is there a consideration? Yes, sir. Consideration is there. And is it an import of service? Yes. It is an import of service because the supplier of service is somewhere in New York, is giving a service to a person who is in India. So it is an import of services for a consideration. So is this a supply as per 71B? 71B? Yes, it is a supply. The import of services by Ramaya is a supply under section 71B, though it is not in the course or furtherance of business, because he is taking architect services for his own house, which is purely personal purpose. Still it is a supply, guys. Still it is a supply. So please be careful, because 71A is there now. There in the course or furtherance of business was one of the condition, but in 71B that condition is not there. That condition is not there. Okay, sir. Next going to 71C, guys. So C, 71C, consideration. So what are they trying to tell here? We will see. They are giving connection to schedule 1. The activities specified in schedule 1 made or agreed to be made without a consideration. I told you all the transaction should be for a consideration, then only it will be a supply. But there are 4 exceptions for it as per schedule 1. So in these 4 cases, even though there is no consideration, still it will be a supply, guys. Still it will be a supply. Which are those cases? It is given in schedule 1. So 71C is referring to schedule 1. 71C is telling what all cases are covered in schedule 1 is a supply even without consideration. So easy to remember, including clause you guys have to remember. So 71C is without consideration. So C without consideration. Try to remember like that. Clear? So there are 4 activities which are supply even without consideration. So which are those 4 cases? We need to refer to schedule 1, guys. We need to refer to schedule 1. Let us go and learn what is given in schedule 1 now. Come to this part. After this illustration I have given. So very important, guys. Pay attention. Supply without consideration, and all this will again be connected to other provisions also, guys, later. Whatever we would be doing when we go to value of supply, when we discuss about how to calculate the value of supply and all these things will again come. I will mention when I go there. So please be very careful and be attentive. Supply without consideration, which is called a deemed supply. So even without consideration, these 4 activities are deemed supply, guys. So in the exam, they may ask a question. Okay. Explain the deemed supply along with examples or along with illustrations. Clear? So there are 4 cases. You can explain those. Theory question. So which are those? We will see one by one. As per Schedule 1, in the following 4 cases, supplies made without consideration will be treated as supply under Section 7 of CGST Act. That is 7(1)(c). So which are those? One by one. Permanent transfer or disposal of business assets where ITC has been availed on such assets. So what is it? Sir, there is a permanent transfer or disposal, means I'm just throwing it off or giving it free of cost, of business assets where ITC has been availed on such assets. For example, let me give an example. Assume, guys, I'm a pen dealer. I have purchased a pen. When I have purchased a pen, I have paid GST and I have claimed a credit of it. When I purchased a pen, I have paid GST, I have claimed a credit of it. And this pen, I have given it free of cost. Some students, I have done some charity. I have given it free of cost to the students. So in that case, even though I have given free of cost, still it will be a supply as per Section 7(1)(c). Sir, on what value GST will be paid? We will learn that in the value of supply chapter. We will not discuss much about those things. Is it a supply? First, let us discuss. Yeah. Yes, sir. It is a supply. Yes, it is a supply. Now, sir, I had purchased a pen on which I have paid GST when I purchased. I claimed the credit of it and I sold this pen. For a money or consideration. Is it a supply? Yes, but as per 7(1)(a). Assuming it is in the course or furtherance of business, then only it will be a supply. So I am having a stationery business. I purchased a pen, I claimed ITC on it, and I sold it for a money or for a consideration. In that case, it will be a supply, but as per 7(1)(a). So when 7(1)(c), Schedule 1 will come only when there is no consideration, that is free of cost. I had purchased an asset for my business, I had claimed an input tax credit on it, but I am giving it free of cost, or I am disposing it. I am distributing it free of cost. In that case, there is no consideration coming to me. So it will not be a supply as per 7(1)(a), because 7(1)(a) clearly tell one of the condition there is consideration. So will it be still a supply? Yes, but as per para 1 of Schedule 1. We call it as para 1 of Schedule 1. Clear? Yes, sir. So I have given an example here. A furniture dealer permanently transfer furniture from his stock in trade free of cost. He gave it free of cost. Transaction will constitute a supply as it is a permanent transfer or disposal of business asset. Means permanent transfer means I have transferred the title itself. It is not like, okay, I gave and took it back. I gave it permanently. Okay. If input tax credit is availed for such asset, then only such transfer amounts to supply. Sir, I had purchased a pen. I have not claimed ITC on it. I have not claimed input tax credit on it. I supplied this pen free of cost. Is it a supply? No. Please make sure that the conditions has to be satisfied. If you have not claimed input tax credit, that means you have not got the benefit. So if you have given that product free of cost, there will not be a supply as per para 1. Clear? Yes. Note. Transfer of entire business as a going concern is not subject to GST. Now, I was having a stationery business. Entire business, I transferred it to you. You will continue that business. I have transferred the business as a going concern. So, is it a supply as per para 1? No. If the entire business is transferred as a going concern, which will be carried on by the transferee, it will not be a supply as per para 1, guys. Clear? Yes. Next, second one. Supply, second para. Supply between related person or distinct person as referred in section 25. Means who is related person or who is distinct person is given in section 25. We will see that. When made, who is related person is covered in section 15. Who is distinct person is covered in section 25. That is registration chapter. When made in the course or furtherance of business. Sir, what is it? First, let us understand who is related, who is distinct person. Shalom. Yeah. Related person. As per explanation to section 15 of CGST Act 2017, persons shall be deemed to be a related person. Who is related person? One by one. Such persons are the officers or directors of one another business. Now, if I am the officer of your business, or if you are the officer or director of my business, we both are related. Okay, yes, some alignment is missing here. I will just correct it in my notes, so you need not worry about it. Next, such persons are legally recognized partners. So if I and you are legally recognized partner, we both are related persons. Okay. Next, such persons are employer and employee. Employer and employee will always be a related persons, guys. Clear? Okay. Next, a third person control or holds directly or indirectly more than or equal to 25% voting stock or shares of both of them. Now assume I am having a company A Limited. You are having a business called B Limited. In our both the business, Z Limited is having 30% share and here 35% share. More than 25%, more than or equal to 25%? Yes, sir. So in that case, we all three are related. A and B is related, A and Z is related, Z and B is related. Clear? So the third person is controlling both of us. Who are we? A and B. Okay. Next, one of them controls directly or indirectly the other. Now, assume A Limited. Let me take a different example. A Limited is holding more than or equal to 25% shares in B Limited. So A Limited is controlling B Limited. Yes, sir. They both are related person. They both are related person. Okay. Next, such persons together control a third person. So now assume, let us remove Z here. A and B both are controlling C Limited. A and B both are controlling C Limited. That means both of them are holding more than 25% share in C Limited. So all three are related here. AB related, AC related, B and C related, guys. Clear? A and B together, they are controlling C Limited. In that case, we call them as related persons. Fine. It is like this family chain. You can try to remember. Father controls mother. Mother controls father. They both are related. Okay. Now both put together controls their child. Children. You. Assume. Your father and mother put together, they control you. So all three are related. Okay. Now your father and mother are controlled by your grandparents. So are they related? Yes, they are related. Okay. I'm just trying to give the example like this. Next, last point. Such persons are members of same family. They are the members of same family. So in that case also, they are called related. Now, what is family? Family means a spouse and children. Spouse means for wife, husband is a spouse. For husband, wife is a spouse. So, and children. So spouse and children will always be, whether they are dependent, independent, doesn't matter. They will always be related to a person. Okay. Coming to the next point. Parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters of a person, if they are only or mainly dependent on the said person. So parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters will be related only if they are dependent on me, whether only or partially. They are dependent on me, only and mainly, sorry, only or mainly. Only if they are dependent on me, they are related. If they are independent, they will have their own family, they have their own income, they have their own business. In that case, they won't be treated as related person, guys. Yeah. So this is what a related person as per section 15 is. Yeah, actually section 15 talks about value of supply. We'll be learning it in chapter 2.3, guys. Next, coming to distinct person. who is distinct person under section 25. Let me explain it first before going further. Under GST, registration is state-wise, but PAN-based. State-wise, but PAN-based. For example, sir, I am having a business in 10 different states in India. Should I take separate registration? Yes, you are supposed to take 10 different registration in India. For each and every state, you need to take separate registration. Okay. So I have taken 10 different registration, and all this 10 registration is treated as distinct person, guys. Distinct person means as if it is a business of separate person. So from one branch or from one state to another state, if I am transferring anything, it is considered as supply, even without consideration. Why? Because they both are distinct person. Yeah, for example, assume I have taken two registration, one in Karnataka, one in Tamil Nadu. So I am transferring some goods from Karnataka branch to Tamil Nadu branch without any consideration. Is it a supply? Yes, it is a supply. It is a supply. And tomorrow when the goods are sold from my Tamil Nadu branch, input tax can be claimed for whatever tax I have paid when the goods are transferred from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. I can claim the credit of it later when I am selling the goods in Tamil Nadu. Clear? Yes, sir. Now, okay. This one scenario. Next, sir, in Karnataka, I have 5 different branches, but I have taken only one registration. Is it possible? Yes. Within the state, one registration is mandatory. If you want, you can take multiple registrations also. Now, in Karnataka, there are 5 different branches. I have taken only one registration. In that case, if I am transferring any goods from one branch to another branch, will it be a supply? No. So if there are multiple branches within one single registration, then it will not be a supply as per para 2. Clear? Okay. Next, assume, sir, in Karnataka, I have 5 branches. I have taken 5 different registration. Is it possible? Yes, you can take it. So 5 different registration I have taken. In that case, all 5 registration will be treated as distinct person. If you are transferring any goods from one branch to another branch, then it will be treated as supply, guys. It will be treated as supply even without consideration as per para 2. So please be very careful before doing separate registration or before getting separate registration within a state, because within a state, one registration is mandatory. But if you want to take multiple registration, it is optional for the person. If you want, you take it. If you don't want, don't want. You need not take it. Yeah? Okay, sir. Next. Sir, I have an establishment in Karnataka. I have an establishment in Uttar Pradesh. In Uttar Pradesh, I am carrying on alcohol business, which is non-GST item. So I need not get registered under GST. Now in Karnataka, I am doing some goods business for which I have registered under GST. But for GST purpose, this two, that is Karnataka business and the Uttar Pradesh business, is treated as distinct person. If by chance, if you supply anything from one branch to another branch, it will be considered supply even without consideration. Clear? I repeat, I have given an example here. Assume I have an establishment in Uttar Pradesh which is not registered under GST because I am doing alcohol business. Alcohol is not covered under GST. Okay. And in Karnataka, I am doing some textile business which is covered under GST. So I have registered. But for GST purpose, the Karnataka establishment or Karnataka business and Uttar Pradesh business will be treated as distinct person. If by chance, if there is any transfer of goods from one branch to another branch which is covered under GST, it will be a supply as per para 2, even if it is without consideration. Clear? So this is all about the distinct person. Let me go through it. Distinct person specified under section 25. A person who has obtained or is required to obtain more than one registration, whether in one state or union territory or more than one state or union territory, shall in respect of each such registration be treated as distinct person. So if you have taken different registration, whether it is within the state or other states, in that case, each and every registration will be treated as distinct person, means separate person as per section 25. I have given an example here. Mohan, a chartered accountant, has a registered head office in Delhi. He has also obtained a registration in the state of West Bengal. Okay, he has already registered in Delhi. He has also obtained a registration in West Bengal in respect of his newly opened branch office. Mohan shall be treated as distinct person in respect of registration in West Bengal and Delhi. And I have told you, Delhi for GST purpose is treated as state, guys, as they have their own state legislature. Further, where a person who has obtained or is required to obtain registration in a state or a union territory in respect of an establishment as an establishment in another state or union territory, then such establishment will be treated as establishment of distinct person. That alcohol thing I gave example, na? That one. Here also I have given an example. Rishabh Enterprises, a registered supplier, owns an air-conditioned restaurant in Virar, that is Maharashtra. So he has registered in Maharashtra. It has opened a liquor shop in Raipur. So liquor is outside the GST. Uttarakhand, for trading of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Since supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption is a non-taxable supply, Rishabh Enterprises is not required to obtain registration with respect to the same in Uttarakhand. So in Uttarakhand, he need not get registered because he is supplying something which is not covered under GST. In this case, air-conditioned restaurant in Maharashtra and liquor shop, though unregistered, they are not registered, still in Uttarakhand shall be treated as establishment of distinct person. So one establishment is not registered, one establishment is registered, but still they both will be treated as distinct person because it is a separate businesses. Supply by Maharashtra restaurant to Uttarakhand shop. If there is any transfer from restaurant, that is Maharashtra restaurant to Uttarakhand shop in the course or furtherance of business, even without consideration, it will be a supply, guys. It will be a supply. Okay. Next. However, transfer between two units of a legal entity under single registration, apparently within the same state, will not be considered as supply. As I told you, sir, in Karnataka, I have 5 different branches, but I have taken only one single registration for all the 5 branches put together. Is it possible? Yes, you can do it. So in that case, if I am transferring any goods or services from one branch to another branch, is it a supply? No, because it is not a distinct person. Example, Raghubir Fabrics transfer 1,000 shirts from his factory located in Lucknow to his retail showroom in Kanpur so that the same can be sold from there. It has taken one registration in the state of Uttar Pradesh, declaring Lucknow factory as its principal place of business and Kanpur showroom as its additional place of business. You can do it. Within the state, if you have multiple branches, one registration is mandatory. You can take multiple registration, but it is an optional. So this person, Raghuvir Fabrics, have taken only one registration. Okay. Since no consideration is charged, supply of goods from factory to retail showroom in same state under single registration does not constitute supply. However, in the above example, if Raghubir Fabrics obtains separate registration for Lucknow factory and Kanpur showroom, if they have taken 2 separate registration within the same state, then stock transfer between the Lucknow factory and Kanpur showroom will constitute supply as per para 2 of schedule 1. As per para 2 of schedule 1. Because it will be a distinct person. Clear? So there are some conditions which has to be satisfied as per para 2. Which are those, guys? Supply of goods or services should be there, or both. Plus, so it first condition, plus it should be between related person or distinct person. Then it should be in the course or furtherance of business. All 3 conditions, if it is satisfied only, it will be a supply as per para 2. If not, it is not a supply as per para 2. Clear? Yes, we will go back. We'll go back. So here also I have given a note and example. Let me go through it. Note. See, employer and employee is a related person. Employer and employee is a related person. If employer give anything to the employee, if employer give anything to the employee as a gift up to 50,000, it is not taxable. But if it is more than 50,000, it is taxable. Entire amount would be taxable. So what is it? Gifts up to 50,000 by employer to employee in a financial year shall not be treated as supply. It will not be a supply of goods or services or both. So if employer is giving best employee award or whatever, once in a year he is giving some gift to the employees. If the value of the gift is up to 50,000, nothing is taxable. Sir, what if it is more than 50,000? Entire amount would be taxable. Entire amount would be taxable, guys. Clear? Yes, sir. Example for para 2. A limited transfer 100 ACs and 100 ACs and 100 televisions from his factory located at Maharashtra to his retail showroom in Delhi, two different states, so that the same can be sold there. The factory and retail showroom are registered in the states where they are located. Although no consideration is charged, supply of goods and factory at Maharashtra to retail showroom at Delhi constitutes a supply. So A Limited has to pay tax for whatever they have transferred from Maharashtra to Delhi. So in that case, when the same goods are sold in Delhi, they can claim the input tax credit of whatever tax they have paid when the goods are transferred from Maharashtra to Delhi, guys. This is just why they have included this transaction, that is branch transfer and all, is just to ensure or to track the goods which are moving from one branch to another branch. Because people will try to escape from the tax liability by transferring the good from one branch to another branch and all. So just to track it, they are telling, okay, if you transfer the goods from one branch to another branch, pay tax. If you further supply it tomorrow, claim the input tax credit of it. That's all. Yeah. And in this cases and all, even without consideration, it is a supply. How to determine the value on which GST would be levied? It is given in valuation rules, which we would be learning in chapter 2.3, guys. Clear? And one small correction here, it should be like 1, 2 and all. I will correct it in my notes. It should be like number 1, 2. We call it as para 1, 2, and here 3, like that. And here it is 4. Para. Okay. Para 1 and 2 we have finished. Next it is para 3. Supply of goods by a principal to his agent, where the agent undertakes to supply such goods on behalf of the principal, or by an agent to his principal, where the agent undertakes to receive such goods on behalf of the principal and invoice is issued in the name of agent. What is this? Let me explain it with an example. Now assume, guys, there is a principal, agent. So principal is in the business, he want to sell his goods. So he has appointed an agent to find the customers for him. So agent found the customers and the goods are sold to him. There are two types of services involved here, guys. That is, see, if agent is just acting as a middleman for a commission, what he will do is, he will find the customers to the principal, connect the customer to the principal. Principal will directly sell the goods to the customer, and invoice will be issued in the name of whom? Customer. Invoice will be issued in the name of whom? Customer. And it will be a supply as per 7(1)(a). Between whom? Principal and customer. Principal will be the supplier, customer will be the recipient. And agent is giving some agent services for which he will charge the commission. So there also there will be a supply of service. Okay, that will be a separate supply. Okay. Now, sir, this is different story. So here principal is issuing the invoice to whom? He will issue invoice in the name of customer. Principal is selling the goods to customer. So customer, who found the customer? Agent found the customer and he just connected the customer with the principal. Invoice is issued in the name of principal. In that case, there is only one supply, which is as per 7(1)(a). Next example. Principal, agent, customer. So this is a different arrangement. So here what happens? Principal will supply the goods to the agent. Agent will supply it to the customer. And agent will issue the invoice to the customer in his own name. Agent will issue the invoice to the customer in his own name, not in principal name, in his own name. So in that case, is this a supply? Yes, sir. As per 7(1)(a), this will be a supply. But now principal has sent the goods to the agent. Normally it is not a supply, because what agent will do, he will sell the goods to the customer, and out of whatever he has collected from the customer, he will keep his part and give the balance to the principal. Agree? So it is a sale which has happened through agent. But when the goods are transferred from principal to agent, goods are transferred from principal to agent, it is a supply as per 7(1)(c) para 3. Why? Because there are two supplies involved here. Because agent issued the invoice in his own name, not in the name of principal. So in that case, there will be a two supply. One is from principal to agent as per 7(1)(c), even without consideration. Next, from agent to customer, that is as per 7(1)(a). Clear? So what is discussed in para 3 is principal to agent. Clear? When agent issue the invoice in his own name, then whenever the goods are supplied from the principal to agent, it will be treated as supply even without consideration. Hope it's clear for you guys. Clear? Sir, what if agent is issuing the invoice in the name of principal? There will be only one supply, and that will be as per 7(1)(a). There won't be para 3 here. Clear? Yes, sir. This is sale transaction. Next, purchase transaction also can happen through agent. Now assume principal want to purchase some raw material. So he has appointed an agent to find the supplier who will supply the raw material to the principal. So what did agent did? He found the supplier, he connected the supplier to principal. So supplier directly supplying the goods to principal. So in that case, there will be only one supply as per 7(1)(a). There will be only one supply in 7(1)(a) because invoice is directly issued by supplier to principal. This is a purchase scenario, guys. Because agent just connected the supplier and principal. He is not issuing invoice in his name. Next, principal, agent and supplier. Now principal asked agent to purchase some goods and send it to him. So what did agent did is, he purchased the goods from the supplier, then he supplied it to principal. He purchased the goods from the supplier and then he issued it to the principal. And invoice is issued in whose name? Agent name. Means supplier is billing to whom? Agent. And agent is billing to principal. So in that case, again, there will be two supply. One as per 7(1)(a, the other one is as per 7(1)(c). Clear? So this supplier would be as per 7(1)(a because he would be charging the amount to the agent. Then agent is supplying the same goods to the principal. Even if it is without consideration, it will be a supply as per 7(1)(c) para 3. Para 3. Hope it's clear for you guys. So what is important here is invoice in whose name it is issued. Invoice is issued in the name of agent. Only then para 3 will come into picture. If the invoice is not issued in the name of agent, no question of para 3, guys. Example, a C&F agent takes possession of the goods from his principal. So principal will send the goods to the agent and issues the invoice in his own name to the customer. So principal is sending the goods to the agent. Agent is supplying to the customer, but invoice is issued in the agent name only. So there are totally two supply: principal to agent, agent to customer. Agent to customer will be as per 7(1)(a because there will be a consideration. We are talking here about whom? The supply of goods from principal to agent. If it is without consideration, then para 3 would be applicable. Clear? Yes, sir. In such a case, C&F agent is an agent of principal for the supply of goods in terms of para 3 of schedule 1. So what are the conditions I have given here? For an activity to be a supply as per para 3, supply of goods by a principal to agent and vice versa, that is from agent to principal, plus invoice is issued in the name of agent. Only if both the conditions are satisfied, it will be a supply as per para 3, guys. Yeah, yes. Next one is last para. This last para has to be read with 7.1b, guys. 7.1b. Let me just recall before going through this para 4. Let me just recall 7.1b. 7.1b, what it tells, if there is an import of service for a consideration, whether or not in the course or furtherance of business, it is a supply. Yes, sir. Something related to it. So what is it? Fourth para. Import of services without consideration. Okay, there is no consideration by a person from a related person or from any of his other establishment outside India in the course or furtherance of business. So very important. So many conditions are there. We'll go through that condition. Okay. Import of services should be there. Okay, sir. That means supplier is outside India, recipient is in India. It should be without consideration. Okay. Then from a related party or establishment outside India, I am taking services from whom? Only from a related person or establishment outside India. Establishment outside India means like my branch office, my head office is in outside India. They are giving services for me. Okay. And it should be in the course or furtherance of business. Sir, what if it is for personal purpose? It is not a supply as per para 4. It is not a supply. So there are totally 4 conditions here, guys. So please be very careful because there are high chances that you may get confused with para 4 and 7.1b. Let me just try to explain the difference between these two. Please pay attention. 7.1b will tell if there is import of services for a consideration. From whom you are taking service doesn't matter. For what purpose you are taking service doesn't matter. Whether it is for business purpose, personal purpose doesn't matter. Okay, this is 7.1b. And coming to para 4 of 7.1c will tell there should be import of services. There is no consideration. Okay. And you are taking services only from 2 people. Who are those? Either your related person or establishment outside India. Sir, what if I am taking services from unrelated person? It is not covered under para 4. Okay. Then it should be in the course or furtherance of business. That means whatever service you are taking, it should be for business purpose. Sir, what if it is for personal purpose? It is not covered under para 4. Clear? So there are totally 4 conditions. So please be very careful. Only if all these 4 conditions are satisfied, an activity will be a supply as per para 4, guys. Clear? Example I have given you. We'll go through it. Jumro Associates received legal consultancy services from its head office located in Malaysia. Okay, head office means establishment outside India, guys. The head office has rendered such services free of cost to its branch office. Okay. So branch office means obviously it will be the course or furtherance of business, guys. Head office giving services to branch office means definitely it will be in the course or furtherance of business and it is given free of cost without consideration. Since Jomro Associates and head office are related persons, services received by Jomro Associates will qualify as supply even though the head office has not charged anything from it because all the 4 conditions you can check is satisfied. Clear? Yes, sir. This is all about schedule 1, guys. There are totally 4 paras and you need to remember it, guys. Some shortcut I will tell you to remember means para numbers. Para 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. Para 1 talks about assets. So that is first alphabet. A for first alphabet. Na? Clear? So para 1. Okay. So okay, there is no much logic about this shortcuts and all. I have just tried to develop some shortcuts to make you guys easy to remember the para numbers. So para 2. So he's talking about what? Supply between related person, distinct person. Means at least 2 people should be there. Agree, related person or distinct person means at least 2 people should be there, na? Yes, sir. So para 2. Related person or distinct person means at least 2 people should be there. So para 2. Okay. Then coming to supply of goods from principal to agent, agent to customer. So here totally how many people are involved? I have given number of example. Totally 3 people are involved in each and every example you can see. There are totally 3 people involved. Agree? So para 3. Para 3. Clear? Yes, sir. Then last one is import case. Last one is import case. Just try to remember like that. So 1, 2, 3, if you remember. Fourth one is like miscellaneous, which is read, which has to be read with 7(1)(b, guys. Clear? Okay, sir. Because there are chances that you may get confused with para 4 and 7(1)(b. Please be careful with it. Chalo, guys. We'll continue. So I have some illustrations on this topic, that is schedule 1. Let me go through it. Illustration 1. ABC Limited, a manufacturing company, scraps old plant and machinery due to renovation of manufacturing facility. Okay, they are putting for scrap old plant and machinery. The company has taken input tax credit on plant and machinery, so scrapped without consideration. Okay, does it qualify as supply? Yes, sir, as per para 1. As per section 7(1)(c, read with schedule 1, this is how you need to answer your questions, guys. So please be careful. Why I have given the illustration, solution, everything. Even at the end, we will be solving some problems. But why I have given the solutions like this and always, you need, because I can just tell, yes, it is a supply anta. But as it is a descriptive type for you in the exam, you should know how to present the answers, guys. So whatever solutions I have given in my material is like how you need to present it in the exam. Try to stick to the format. Clear? Yes. As per section 7(1)(c, read with schedule 1 of CGST Act 2017, permanent transfer or disposal of business assets where input tax credit has been availed shall be treated as supply even without consideration. Hence, scrapping of old plant and machinery without consideration shall qualify as supply, since input tax credit has been availed on such plant and machinery by XYZ and co, guys. Clear? Yes. So it is a supply. Now coming to illustration 2. Big Limited provides management technical services without consideration to Small Limited, in which Big Limited has controlling rights. So they both are related because they are controlling, na? So they both are related, big and small. This technical services have been provided for the benefit of entire group. Does it qualify as a supply? Yes, as per para 2. Chalo, guys, let me read the solution. And this is how you can present it in the exam. Even if by chance, if you don't remember para number, at least you should know the section number and schedule, guys. As per section 7(1)(c, read with schedule 1 of CGST Act 2017, supply of goods or services between related person is treated as supply even if it is without consideration. As per explanation to section 15 of CGST Act 2017, person shall be deemed to be a related person if one of them directly or indirectly controls the other. So here, Big Limited is controlling Small Limited. Since Big Limited has controlling rights of Small Limited, they will be treated as related person and the said transaction will qualify as supply even if it is without consideration. Clear? If you can remember the para number, you can also mention as per para 2 of schedule 1. Clear? Yes. If you can remember the section number, if you can remember the schedule number, subsections, clauses and all, guys, and if you can present it in the exam, definitely your answer will have a weightage. Clear? So assume there are two persons, there are two students. You have written the answer along with the section number, schedule and all. The other person has just written the answer. He doesn't know the section number. Definitely you will be getting more marks. So assume it is a 5 marks question. You might be getting 4 marks. He or she might be getting only 3 marks. Clear? And 1 marks also will make difference in the exam, guys. 39 is a fail and 40 is a pass. Clear? So 1 marks also is very, very important. You have to work hard to earn that 1 marks also in the exam, guys. Clear? And you have to be very sure that, okay, how do I present the answer? Presentation of answer in the exam is very, very important, because for the tax loss paper for you at executive level was different. It was completely MCQ paper, but now it is completely descriptive. Full 100 marks is descriptive. So you have to adapt for it. So that is why I have covered number of problems, number of illustrations in my material, guys, so that you will get used to it. You will get used to it. Chalo. Illustration 3. American Express Private Limited makes gift to his employee worth 75,000. Employee and employer are related. Okay. So employer is giving gift to employee worth how much? 75,000 during the year. Do such gifts qualify as a supply? Yes, it is a supply. Entire 75,000 would be taxable because it is more than 50,000. Okay. Would your answer be different if the gifts of 45,000 have been given to employee? No, nothing will be taxable because up to 50,000 it is not taxable. They have given a clarity on it. Clear? Yes. Ciao. Let me read this. As per section 71C, read with schedule 1 of CGST Act 2017, supply of goods or services between related persons is treated as supply even if it is without consideration. Observe the presentation. Clear? This is how first you need to give the background of the provisions. Then you need to connect the given case with the provision and give the ultimate answer, whether it is a supply or not. As per explanation to section 15 of CGST Act 2017, persons shall be deemed to be a related person if such persons are the employer and employee. Thus, gifts to the employee worth 75,000 will qualify as a supply, and such supply would be liable to GST in full. Means entire 75,000 would be taxable, guys, not only 25, entire 75. Okay. If gifts of 45,000 are given instead of 75,000, the same will not qualify as supply, since it has been specifically provided that gifts not exceeding rupees 50,000 in value in a financial year by an employer to an employee shall not be treated as supply of goods or services or both. Yeah, because it is an exception given for para 2. Next illustration. Honda Motors Limited engages DD Motors as an agent to sell its motorcycle on its behalf. For the purpose, Honda Motors Limited has supplied 500 cars to the showroom of DD Motors. So goods are supplied from principal to agent in Punjab. Does it qualify as supply? If the invoice is issued in the name of agent, definitely it will be a supply. But that clarity is not given in the question. So you need to explain it in the answer. As per section 71C, read with schedule 1 of CGST Act 2017, supply of goods by a principal to his agent, where the agent undertakes to supply such goods on behalf of the principal, shall be treated as supply, even if it is made without consideration, only if the invoice is issued in the name of agent. Yeah, that explanation, that point you have to quote it, guys, because there is no clarity in the question. Okay. In the given case, supply of motorcycles by Honda Private Limited to DT Motors will qualify as supply. As per section 71C, read with schedule 1, only if the invoice is issued in the name of agent. Yeah, because whether in whose name the invoice is issued is not clearly given in the question. So you have to mention this point. You cannot straight away tell, it is supply or it is not supply. You need to explain that point. Next, last illustration on schedule 1. Raheja Builders, a registered taxable person, receives architectural design supplied by a foreign architect to design a residential complex to be built in Faridabad for a consideration of 1 crore. There is a consideration. Does it qualify as supply? Yes, but as per 71B. Why? See, simple, guys. Whenever there is an import of services, check whether it is consideration is there or not. If there is consideration, 71B. If there is no consideration, then check para 4. Para 4 might not be applicable every time because there are other conditions as well. Agree? But first, always check whenever there is an import of service, consideration is there or not. Accordingly, decide whether to apply 71B or para 4 of schedule 1. So here, there is a consideration. So, as per section 71B of CGST Act 2017, importation of services for a consideration, whether or not in the course or furtherance of business, is covered under supply. In the given case, architectural design services supplied by a foreign architect to a design in residential complex for personal purpose, still no problem, doesn't matter. For a consideration of 1 crore will be treated as supply and will be liable to GST. Clear? Because only two conditions are there as per 7.1b. Import of services for a consideration. That's all. Purpose doesn't matter. From whom you are importing the service doesn't matter. That is important only for para 4. Clear? So this is all about Schedule 1 of CGST Act, read with 7.1c. So we have covered what all sections, guys? Come on, just a second. So we have covered 7.1a, 7.1aa, 7.1b and 7.1c, read with Schedule 1. Clear? Chalo. I have one problem on this. Let us do it. Just come to this problem. This problem. Come to this problem. See, in this problem number 1, which is at the end of the material, means chapter, guys. So at the end of each and every chapter, I would have included some problems, which also includes some previous exam questions and all. Chalo. So here in this problem, this is my own question where I have given the list of transactions or activities, guys. So we need to identify whether it is supply or not. If supply, write yes. If not supply, in the second column, write. If it is not supply, write no. Agree? If it is a supply, also mention the section number. Clear? This illustrations, this problem I have given only to make you strong with the concept, guys. Clear? So here I have given the list of activities or transaction. Let us try to identify one by one whether it is a supply or not. If it is a supply, as per which section? Clear? Are you guys ready with me? Come on. And whenever I tell something or whenever I ask something, do answer it, guys. Clear? You take the active participation in the class. It is not like, okay, you are watching some movie, so you need to interact. Whenever I ask something, whenever I tell you something, do interact, actively participate in the class. Fine? Chala, guys. From the following activities or transaction, identify whether it is a supply under GST. If yes, specify the section under which it is regarded as transfer. Fine. A shopkeeper sells a pen for 100 rupees to a buyer. Is it a supply? Yes. It is in the course or furtherance of business. Yes, it is a supply. As per which section? 7.1a, because there is a consideration. 7.1a. Clear? Yes, sir. Next. Nikhil sells his pen to Mohan. Nikhil and Mohan, assuming they are non-taxable person because there is no clarity. So they are individual who is non-taxable person. So there is a supply between two non-taxable person. So is it a supply? No, sir. It is not a supply. Because it is not in the course or furtherance of business. Okay, next. When a new car worth 5,000 is sold in exchange for an old car along with the monetary consideration of rupees 4 lakh paid for a said purchase. So it is an example for exchange. Is it a supply? Yes. As per 7.1a. It is a supply as per 7.1a, assuming it is in the course of business. Next. A doctor got his hair cut from a barber and provides him medical consultancy in return. So there is some barter system here. So is it a supply? Yes, sir. There is no money involved, but 7.1a covers barter also. Fine. Let us go to the next scenario. Rishabh buys a car for his personal use, and after a year, he sells it to a car dealer for rupees 4 lakh. So Rishabh has purchased the car for his personal use. He is selling now to a car dealer. Is it a supply? No. Why? Because for a Rishabh, it is not in the course or furtherance of business. Rishabh is a non-taxable person. Clear? So he is not doing it in the course or furtherance of business. So it is not a supply. Observe the next thing. Tata Motors sold Tata Punch car to Pratik for 7,50,000. So for Tata Motors is the supplier here. They are supplying car to Pratik. So for Tata Motors, it is in the course or furtherance of business? Yes, sir. So is it a supply? Yes. So we should always see whether for the supplier is it in the course or furtherance of business. Clear? So as per 7.1a. But only in case of import of services, I told you RCM is applicable. that is reverse charge mechanism, we should see whether for the recipient, is it in the course or furtherance of business. That is for para 4 I am talking about. Yeah, only in that case we will check it for the recipient, whereas in all other cases we will check whether for the supplier, is it in the course or furtherance of business. Next, Manasa sold her old gold bangles and earrings to Bhushan Jewelers for 2 lakh. So now Manasa is an individual. Assuming she is not registered under GST, it is not in the course or furtherance of business. See, she sold her own jewelry for shop. In that case, for her, she is the supplier. It is not in the course or furtherance of business, guys. Clear? Next, KLM Jewelers. See, I have reversed the scenario here. KLM Jewelers sold gold bangles to Bhargavi or gold to Bhargavi for 1 lakh. So there is a consideration. So for KLM Jewelers, selling of gold is in the course or furtherance of business. So is it a supply? Yes, sir. As per 71A. 71A. Next, samples which are supplied free of cost to customer, ITC availed. So I had purchased some goods on which I have claimed ITC. I have distributed this free of cost to the customer. Is it a supply? Yes. As per 71C, guys, para 1. 71C, I can also mention para 1. Para 1. Okay, next. Vinod gives old laptops being used in his business to his customer free of cost. Okay. Input tax credit has been availed by Vinod on such laptop. So Vinod had purchased a laptop, claimed input tax credit on it, and now he is giving free of cost. So in that case, is it a supply? Yes, same case. 71C para 1, guys. 71C para 1. Next, a dealer of air conditioners permanently transfer the motor vehicle free of cost. ITC on the said motor vehicle is blocked. That means ITC is not claimed. So is it a supply? No. If ITC is not claimed, then even if that goods is supplied free of cost, there is no supply as per para 1. It is not a supply. Okay, next. A company transfer goods from its factory to its depot within the same state for sale purposes. They are not separately registered. So if they are not separately registered, they are not distinct person. So in that case, is it a supply? No, sir. Next, Raghubir Fabrics transfer 1,000 shirts from his factory located in Lucknow to his retail showroom in Delhi, 2 different states, so that the same can be sold from there, separately registered in the respective state. That means distinct person. So there is a transfer of goods from one distinct person to another distinct person. Is it a supply? Yes. As per 71C para 2. Para 2. Next, Chirag, a proprietor registered in Delhi, has sought architect services from his son located in US with respect to his newly constructed house in Delhi without consideration. Okay. So without consideration means as soon as you see without consideration, straight away go to para 4, guys, not 71B, para 4. Okay, let us see the other condition. Chirag, a proprietor registered in Delhi, has sought architect services from his son located in US. So son is a related person. So import of service is there from a related person. Okay. With respect to his newly constructed house. So it is importing the service for what purpose? For personal purpose. So that condition is not satisfied because para 4, one condition is it should be in the course or furtherance of business. So in this case, as is taking personal service, there is no supply as per para 4. Okay, even 71B is not applicable because there is no consideration at all. Okay. In the above case, if the consideration for the service is 10 lakh, then it will be a supply. As per which section? 71B, guys. Very interesting. Very interesting. Because 71B, the purpose doesn't matter. Whether you are taking personal service, business service, doesn't matter. Agree? Only 2 conditions. Import of service should be there. From whom also doesn't matter. There should be a consideration. Clear? Whether you are taking the service from related person, unrelated person, doesn't matter for 7.1b. Okay. Next. Vijay, so all these cases are interconnected, guys. So please pay attention. I mean, small differences are there. That's all. Vijay has received a legal services from his friend from USA for his personal purpose for 10,000 as a consideration. So is there a service? Sorry, is there a consideration? Yes. Check 7.1b. Import of service is there. Consideration is there. Again, yes, it is a supply as per 7.1b. As per 7.1b. Okay, next. Vijay has received a legal services from his friend from USA for his personal purpose without any consideration. So without any consideration means you should go and check para 4. So check one by one condition. Import of service is there from friend. Friend is not relative. Sir, brother from another mother? No. For GST I have told who is related, who is family and all. So friend is not a related person. So para 4 is not applicable. Clear? So here it is no. And 7.1b is also not applicable because there is no consideration. Next. Vijay has received a legal services from his son. Okay, son is a related person. Okay, from USA. So import of service is there, from related person is there. For business purpose. Okay, for 10,000 as a consideration. See, consideration is there. So when consideration is there, forget about para 4. Go and check 7.1b. So import of service is there, consideration is there. Yes, tick it. 7.1b. 7.1b. Yes, sir. So try to make it simple, guys. First, always check consideration. Whenever there is an import of service, check whether consideration is there or not. If consideration is there, 7.1b. If not there, then check para 4. Vijay has received a legal services from his son from USA for his business purpose without consideration. Without any consideration means go for para 4. Check one by one. Import of services, then from son, related person, then for business purpose, one more condition is satisfied without consideration. All conditions are satisfied. Yes, it is a supply. But as per what? 7.1c para 4. 7.1c para 4 of schedule 1. You can mention schedule also, para 4 of schedule 1. Last one. Vijay has received a legal services from his son from USA for his personal purpose without any consideration. Here only para 4 is lost. Clear? Without consideration is there. So we need to check para 4, and that service is taken for personal purpose. So that means it is not a supply. It is not a supply. Clear? So after solving all these cases, I hope you guys have got a hold on section 7.1, guys. 7.1. We have discussed number of examples, illustrations, as well as one problem. Fine? Sure. Next, you can see here in December 21, for 4 marks, they have asked this question. What is it? Explain in brief the meaning of the following terms in the context of provisions contained under CGST Act. Goods, services. They have asked you to define goods as well as services for 4 marks. That means 2 marks each. So you need to give the definition as it is, guys. You cannot change here and there. Fine. So please be very careful with it. Fine. One more question is there, which is again asked in December 21 for 4 marks. I have also given the solution. You need not worry. For theory questions, I would have given the solution in the material itself, guys. You need not worry. If there is any problem which we need to solve and all, I will ask you to do it in your notebook. Fine? Yes, sir. Decide as per the provisions contained under CGST Act 2017 whether the following activities constitute supply or not. So there are 2 activities they have given. We need to tell whether it is a supply or not. What is it? Services received from government against taxes paid. See, what they have given here is, see the twist. I am getting the services from the government. Why? For paying the taxes. So you are paying the tax as your duty, and whatever services you get from the government, is not like one-to-one service. The government is not giving it for you alone. It is giving for the public at large. So in that case, is it a supply? No, it is not a supply, because services given by the government is not for you alone. It is for the entire public as a in general. Clear? Yes, it is not one-to-one service. Okay, let me read the solution for this. This is interesting. Services received from government against taxes paid is not a supply. You can underline like this in the exam, guys. Not a supply, because that is the main answer for us. Yeah, but I cannot give only that much. I need to explain why it is not a supply. So you can underline these things, important things in the exam in your solution in pencil, not in pen. Taxpayer pays different types of taxes to the government, treasury, and government performs welfare activities out of such taxes to the general public and not for any specific person. So it is given for general public. There should be a direct link and not any casual link between activity and consideration. Therefore, such activities do not constitute service as there is. So it does not constitute service as there is no direct link between such services and taxes. Hence, such activities would not qualify as supply. So government is not giving services for me just because I paid tax. So they are giving that service, or whatever services government is giving it for everyone, not only for me. For example, Ambani, Adani is paying more taxes. Let me give some services for them only. Can government do that? No. Next, second one is buying a new car in exchange of old car. So it is an exchange example. It is the supply as per 7(1)(a), guys. So buying a new car in exchange of old car is a supply as per section 7(1)(a). Observe the solution, guys. You need to remember the section numbers. So please try to cultivate that habit from day one. Clear? Now we have started with few sections only. As and when we proceed, we will be covering the more and more sections. So it will start getting accumulated. So please try to remember it from now itself along with the provisions, guys. Clear? You cannot give a reason telling, sir, I cannot remember so much, I cannot retain so much in my mind and all. You can do it, but only by way of practice. Yeah, yes. As per section 7(1)(a) of Central Goods and Service Tax Act 2017, supply includes exchange of goods for a consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. Thus, buying a new car in exchange of old car will constitute supply, and dealer of car will be liable to pay GST. Yeah, and it should, one condition here, it should be in the course or furtherance of business, guys. Yeah. Next, one more question which is asked in June 21, but it is a part of the question. It is not a complete question actually. So in that question, 4 to 5 cases are asked. One of the cases is this one, guys. So it is a sub question. W Limited provides consultancy services without consideration to V Limited, in which W Limited has holding rights. So they are related persons. Okay, W Limited and V Limited. This technical services have been provided for the benefit of entire group. Okay. Analyze the taxability of the service to determine whether it constitutes a supply under GST. As per section 7(1)(c) read with schedule 1 para 2, because there is no import of services here, please be careful. Para 4 is not applicable. Para 2 of Central Goods and Service Tax Act 2017, supply of goods or services between related party is treated as supply even if it is without consideration. Next, as per explanation to section 15 of Central Goods and Service Tax Act 2017, persons shall be deemed to be a related person if one of them directly or indirectly controls the other. Since W Limited holds rights of V Limited, they will be treated as related person and the said transaction will qualify as supply even though no consideration is involved. So please be careful. In the question, they are not given that they both are in 2 different countries, so there is no import of service. If there is import of service, then you can check para 4, but here para 2 would be applicable, guys. Clear? So these are the questions on whatever we have covered in this class, guys. So we'll stop it here. We'll continue in the next video. So we have covered full 7(1) read with schedule 1, guys. Clear? So hope you guys have understood each and everything, guys. So bye, take care until the next video. See you.